Tuesday. If you are watching this video, that means you have just completed your Fantastic Five for the second time this week. Now, this is either going to be the first time you've seen me go over these, or if you came to the live Zoom on Monday at your assigned time, you were able to see me go over these 5 questions already. Either way, looking at some of these questions, a question like number 2, that's one that we've reviewed. It was on Fan 5 last week. A question like number 3, we've done a very similar one. It might have been like the second week of school. Question like number 4, we had that in Fan 5 a couple of weeks ago. So normally on a Monday, you would expect numbers to be a little bit lower. To me, the Monday numbers shouldn't really exist this week. I think we should be able to get a 2 or a 3 or maybe even higher on a Monday. So today's numbers, Tuesday's numbers, I'm expecting to be pretty strong. Questions like 1 and 5 might take us a couple of days, but I think they're really, once you see them, you kind of have a better understanding of how to do it. So I've got it pulled up again on my smartboard, so it looks a little bit different than your Google form did, but it's still the same questions. I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way. The only thing that honestly does look a little bit different is number 1. I'll go ahead and read that one. It says, the perimeter of the shape below is 32 inches. How wide is it? The only thing that's different here, it's worded different because the picture's different. I think in your Google form, it says the perimeter of the shape's 32 inches wide, or 32 inches, it's 13 inches long. How wide is it? So it doesn't say that in the problem because in my picture, I've already got the 13 inches long labeled. So the first thing you need to do is when you're doing number 1 for the rest of the week, you should redraw that rectangle. And if it tells you how long it is or how wide it is, you need to go ahead and put that information from the problem into your picture. That way it looks something similar to this. And then if we're trying to figure out how long or how wide it is, you need to put an X or a question mark, one of those. All right, so the first thing you got to know is perimeter. I could be wrong on this. I'm pretty sure you guys did area and perimeter virtually last year. You may have done it in class. I'm not 100% sure. But if you don't know what the perimeter of a shape is or how to find the perimeter, that's going to make this a little bit harder. The best example that I can think of and the best way for me to remember, in all these action movies, when you got the good guys and the bad guys, there's always one guy who he's got his walkie-talkie or whatever, and he'll say, you check inside, I'll check the perimeter. So if he's saying that he's going to check the perimeter, he's going to check around the outside, which is the same thing when we're talking about area and perimeter. If we're talking about the perimeter of a shape, we're talking about the distance around the outside of that shape. So here's what I'll do. Since it gave me and I want to actually make this picture a little bit bigger if I can. It's not going to work, whatever. All right, get this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and put right here, perimeter equals 32. All right, one thing to remember, especially with a rectangle or a square, this shape specifically, opposite sides are equal. So if I'm looking at the top of that shape and it's 13 inches long, that means that the bottom is also going to be 13 inches long. So I can go ahead and label that side as well. All right. So if I know the total distance around that rectangle is 32 inches, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add up what I already have. I know the top and I know the bottom. So let me go ahead and add those two together. 13 plus 13. 3 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now look, the total perimeter has got to be 32 inches. I've already got 26 inches. What would I do to figure out what's left? Think about that. Total's 32. I've already got I've already got 26. What's left? I'm going to subtract. I'm going to do 32, and I'm going to get rid of the 26 inches that I already have. So looking in the ones place, can't do 2 minus 6. More on the floor, go next door, get 10 more. This 3 becomes a 2, and this 2 is now a 12. Now I can subtract. I can do 12 minus 6, and I would get 6. And I can do 2 minus 2, and I would get 0. That means there's 6 inches left to cover that perimeter. Here's where people go wrong. Once they do that math, I'll go ahead and put my 13 back here. They think since the answer is 6, or since there's 6 inches left, they put 6 here, and they put 6 here. Wrong. Because guys, that 6 inches has to cover 2 sides. I've got to take those 6 inches and I've got to split them evenly between those 2 sides. So if I've got 6 inches, got to split between 2 sides, I'd be doing 6 divided by 2, and I would get 3. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no excuse to miss this question, because there's one thing you could do that would work every single time. This takes a little bit more work, but if it's somebody who's missing number 1, I will know that they didn't do everything they possibly could have. If you really wanted to, you go ahead and put your 13 back. You could take your answer choices, plug them in, and check them. So here's how I know that A is going to be my correct answer. If I put 3 right here, I could do 13 plus 13, which I already know is 26. I could do 3 plus 3 and get 6. And then I could add 26 plus 6 to give me 32. If it's 3 inches wide and it's 32 inches all the way around, I know that that's going to be my answer. If you put 6, 13, or 16, that's going to be a way where I know you didn't check your answer. Because a lot of people who missed are going to put B, 6, 6, and 13. But if you choose this, you're telling me 13 plus 13, we just said was 26. Whoa, I don't have any clue what that is. 26. Then you're saying 6 plus 6 gives you 12. But guys, if you add those together, you're getting 38 inches around. It's got to be 32. That can't be right. And if 6 inches is too much, that means 13 and 16 are definitely going to be too much, which gives you the chance or the answer of A. So even though one's new and it might require a lot of work, that's the one question specifically where I will know if you checked your work or not. So that's one that I would expect that number to keep going up as the week goes on. All right, number 2. We've been so hot and cold with these multiplicative comparisons. There's days where we're crushing it, and then there's days where it's almost like we've never done it before. But I think some people are really starting to realize, like, man, maybe that box method really works. If I pull out this information and put it where it tells me to put it, it really sets it up for me to get the answer. So this is actually the last type of multiplicative comparison you're going to learn about, which you're going to do today. But then after this, it's all review, just looking forward to our test. So number 2 says Lionel ran 4 laps around the track. Diana ran 3 times as many laps as Lionel. How many laps did they run all together? So a lot of important stuff in there. Obviously, we know 3 times as many is going to tell us that we're doing our multiplicative comparisons here. Something a little different, we're seeing all together, meaning there might be some addition in here. Either way, if I know I'm comparing Lionel and Diana's laps, I'm going to pull them out of the question. Here's Lionel, here's Diana. Now remember, you don't just put boxes because you see numbers. You don't put 4 boxes beside Lionel because he ran 4 laps. Diana gets 3 boxes because it says 3 times as many. So if Diana ran 3 times as many, she's got 3 boxes. Lionel's got 1. Now that I've used the 3 times as many, now I'm going to look at the 4, figure out what I need to do with it. Well, it says Lionel ran 4 laps. That means Lionel's picture has to be equal to 4. And if he only has 1 box, I just know that that box is going to have 4 in it, which means Diana's boxes are also going to have 4 in it. And here's the tough part. Some people might choose A as the answer. Some people might choose C as the answer, but you have to read. If you were in class last week, which if you're watching this, you were, you know how much the reading affected our numbers on FAM 5. We were doing awesome math and just not reading. If I want to know how many they ran all together, I got to take Lionel's 4. I got to take Diana's 12, add those together, and I would have gotten 16. So I'm afraid that C will probably get picked quite a bit. But hopefully as we read that and we get more practice with that, it'll get better. But again, we had it last week, and at least in this classroom, it was our lowest. It was our lowest every single day. So there's a reason that that one's coming back. That was a long one. All right, moving on to number 3. Again, we've seen one pretty similar to this. Maybe not subtracting with two numbers, maybe it was just one, but regardless. It says I got $2,000 for my graduation from high school. I spent $168 on new clothes and $499 on the new PS5. How much money do I have left over? So left over is one thing that leads you to think you're subtracting, but also, guys, when you're spending money, you're getting rid of it. Your number of money, your amount of money is getting smaller. Another sign that you need to subtract. So a couple things you could do here. You could take your $2,000 and spend your money, get rid of 168, and then whatever you get there, spend it again, get rid of 499. Some people like to take the two totals that they spent, add them together, then subtract. I might show you a different way every day. I might just not stick to one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and take my $2,000. I'm going to go ahead and spend my 168 on new clothes. This is where, if you remember the videos from the past, or if you were in class in the past and we did this one, you might remember something that helped us solve this one. If you look at the ones place, you got 0 minus 8. Can't do it. More on the floor. Go next door. Get 10 more. But when you go right here and you knock on that door, nobody's home. So if you remember, at this point, we start at that empty house and we box off the rest of the neighborhood. So we went from having 0 tens to now having 200 tens, but I still only need one. So I'm going to take one away from that, and it would change to 199. And that 10 that I took, I'm going to put it on that 0 and change it to a 10. Now I can flow through here and subtract. 10 minus 8 gives me 2. 9 minus 6 gives me 3. 9 minus 1 gives me 8. And bring down that 1. Now, hopefully people do not stop here, because obviously you still have to spend 490 bucks or 499 bucks on your new PS5. So let me make a little room here. 1,832 minus 499. Again, if you're looking at your ones place, you can't do 2 minus 9. There's more on the floor. Go next door. Now, somebody's home here, so I don't have to box anything off. I can borrow from 3. If I take 110 from that 3, it's going to be changed to 2. This 2 now becomes a 12, and now I keep going. In the ones place, 12 minus 9 gives me 3. In the tens place, 2 minus 9, can't do it. More on the floor. Go next door, get 10 more. This 8 changes to a 7. Take that 10, change this 2 to a 12. Once again, 12 minus 9 is 3. And then if I do 7 minus 4, I get 3. Bring down the 1. What have I done here? I think I had the wrong answer choices on here. Did I make a mistake? Nobody move. 2,000 minus 168 equals that, minus 499 equals that. All right, I did not make a mistake. The answer choices that you see on there right now are going to be different than the ones you see on your Google form. So this is for Tuesday. I got time to fix it. So you got to change those answer choices. Change answer choices. All right, that's going to be your answer. You'll see that. I don't know what letter it'll be, but that'll be the the one you get. Tomorrow I'll probably show you a different way to do it. Regardless, 1,333 should have been your answer. All right, moving on. Put my own brain in a pretzel right there. All right, so for number 4, it says what fraction of the circle is shaded? Pretty similar to our pizza fraction question that we had a couple of weeks ago. If you're looking at this circle, you're going to get your denominator, your bottom number from how many different sections you have, which if you're looking, clearly there are 4 sections. All right. And then if you're talking about what is shaded, your numerator is going to come from how many of those sections are shaded. But if you look, 1, 2, 3 of them are shaded. Now, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. If you know for a fact that the fraction that you wrote is correct, you can't panic. You can't just guess and pick one that looks close. You can go through a mental checklist and there's something you can do. Even though your answer choices might look different than 3/4, one of them might represent the same amount. So if you remember in class, we cross multiplied. We took our 3/4 and we compared it to every fraction. So if I put it up next to A, and cross multiply. 4 times 1 gives me 4. 4 times 3 gives me 12. Those are very clearly not equivalent, so A would get eliminated. All right, then I would try B. 3/4 and 3/5. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. Once again, different numbers, not equivalent. All right, so I'll try 3/4 and 1/3. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Again, you see there, you got a difference, not equivalent, which gives us our answer of D, but we're still going to check it anyways. You got 3/4, you got 6/8. 4 times 6 is 24. 8 times 3 is 24. Those numbers are the same, meaning that those fractions are equivalent, so your answer would be D. You might not have to do that every day. You might have your exact answer as an answer choice without having to cross multiply, but if you get an answer and you do not see your answer, cross multiply. See if you maybe made a mistake and you wrote the wrong fraction, but if you know it's right, one of your answer choices might be equivalent. So that's one I think, if not today, maybe tomorrow, should be probably one of our higher numbers. All right, number 5. This one's new, and I can almost guarantee you most people who missed it are choosing the answer choice that looks exactly like the number. Like in this case, we're looking for one of these that's equal to 3,650. I'd be willing to bet most people are not going to do much work on this one and just choose A because it says 3650 in the same order. Guys, that couldn't be more wrong, okay? There is some work that you have to do in order to get this question correct. Now, anytime I'm thinking about place value, I like to think about money. So it says which choice has a total of 3,650. Let's just start with A. If you had 36 hundreds, I instantly think of a $100 bill. You're talking hundreds. How many zeros do you see? You see 2, right? Okay, 50 tens. There's 50. Oh, I should have put tens. When you think of a $10 bill or you think of tens, you see 1 0. So anytime you're dealing with hundreds or tens, you're going to add that many zeros to that number. So in the instance of A, I've got 36 hundreds. I'm going to write 36 and I'm going to add 2 zeros. 50 tens means I'm going to write the number 50 and add 1 0. Now, to figure out what that's worth, I can just add those two together. And that's worth 4,100, which even though it looks exactly like your number you're looking for, it's clearly more. So doing this work is going to help you figure out which one of these is going to be equal. So I know A is gone. All right, let's look at B, 30 hundreds. I would write the number 30, and then I would add 2 zeros. 65 tens. I'd write the number 65 and add 1 0 because the 10 has 1 0. When I add these together, B gives me exactly what I'm looking for. Now, I would still check C and D because, yes, people make mistakes, and it doesn't hurt just to double check your work. So for C, 36 hundreds, again, I'd write the number 36 and add 2 zeros. For 6 tens, I would write the number 6 and add 1 0. Add these together. That one is pretty close, but it's a little bit too much. C would be eliminated. And last but not least, I would check D. It says 3 hundreds. Write the number 3. Add 2 zeros. 65 tens. Write the number 65. Add 1 0. And add those together. That one's not even close, which leaves me with B as my answer. So the work on that one is not hard. It's just whether or not you're going to be willing to do it. But you can see how easy it was just to add zeros and then do that addition. So second day of FAM 5. By tomorrow, I'd expect everybody to be getting 3s and 4s, if not already today, because some of these do look familiar. As long as you're utilizing these videos, guys, and doing some work, I can't really complain. But I think by now you probably understand I'm a little bit more interested in the effort and the work that you're putting forth than whatever your score is. So keep on watching these videos, guys. Reach out if you need me, and let's keep climbing towards that 5 on Friday.